All right, all right. I think we're cruising live now into YouTube, the Watch Get a Clue channel on YouTube. And let me go ahead and get the recording going on Zoom. We're recording on Zoom. And now let me go ahead and let me now I think we're going live on Facebook. Hello on Facebook side. Hello on the Zoom side. And from wherever else you may be joining, welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52. We're a little bit early, actually, 7:59 p.m. Normally we get started at 8, but I'm coming to you live from Las Vegas, so I'm not in my normal environment today. I've been in Las Vegas for the past several days looking for a September, but I've just refinanced their place, pulled some money out that we want to put into a condo. So I'm shopping for a condo all weekend, and it's exhausting, but we're making some progress. We have an interesting lead, and that's what I'm doing here in Vegas. So 8 p.m. straight up, we're going to go ahead and progress through. Let me say hello to Patty, who's joining me live on Zoom. Actually, and if you want to join on the Zoom side, it's very easy. It's a tinyurl.com/get a clue. Then you can come onto the Zoom side and interact live. Otherwise, if you're watching on the Facebook side, if you're watching a stream into my YouTube channel, watch Get a Clue. If you're watching any recording of this somehow down the road, thank you for taking time out. We want this to be valuable. Charlie from South Africa is joining as well. So let me say hello and acknowledge you. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. If you missed a little bit of my intro, I started early tonight. I'm in Las Vegas. I've been shopping for a condo to invest in for my brother. It's time to get him out of my parents' house after they had passed a couple months ago. You guys know that whole story. So that's what I'm doing here in Vegas and making some progress. It's an interesting real estate market in Vegas, seller's market. Every property has multiple offers. Everything's priced way above what it may appraise at. And it's pretty interesting. The characters that you meet and the places that you see and the way people live. It is fascinating stuff. Let me tell you, though, all of my communication skills are coming into play because I'm contacting listing agents directly and hoping to bypass buyer's agents and get right in there and have efficient and competitive offer by communicating directly with listing agents. But everybody's got to be careful, and be above board and disclose things. And anyway, communication skills, networking skills, listening skills, it all comes into play in everyday life, so to speak. So anyway, here we go. Get a Clue 52. By now, the first edition of the book was good because it was done, but it wasn't perfect. There was a lot of mistakes, so we fixed it. We made it better, and we're reading a tip every Sunday night at 8 p.m., and there's 5 categories, 10 tips each, except we're in the marketing section right now. So there's 2 extra tips in marketing, and we're the 11th tip overall in marketing, number 21 overall. We started in communication. Now we're in marketing. Then we're going to move on to networking, and then sales, and then accountability. My favorite topic of all, accountability. I'm done reading dedications. If you have a copy of the book, hopefully you'll appreciate the time I took to dedicate this book to 30,000 people. I mean, there's a lot of dedications in here, but I used to read one of the dedications till I got through them all. I am through them all. So let me go ahead and scroll to the marketing section and just do a quick review. Although, oh my God, Patty, are you with me? Like the review of tips, it gets to be pretty breathless when there's so many of them built up. But here we go. I'll be quick about this. Tip number 1 in the marketing section was know what you need to know, then know it. I just made a bullet list of the next 11 tips, right? So it's a preview of what's to come in this section. Tip number 2 then is know your ideal customers, demographics, psychographics, know what's going on with your customer. Later on in the tip, we do a deeper dive on that. But tip number 3 is know the competition. And then tip number 4 is know the conditions. So I like to call those the 3 C's. When we're doing market research, when we're gathering information, bringing it into the company, right? Or bringing it inside, we want to know our competition, we want to know our customer, and we want to know the market conditions. If we can focus on those 3 C's and gather data, we're going to be able to put out better messages. Our messages are just naturally going to be better when it's time for us to saturate, penetrate, inform the marketplace. So I always see marketing as info in, info out. Info in, info out, just to keep it simple. Sometimes we're doing market research, sometimes we're informing the market, but we will inform the market better if we've done good research. Very simple. Tip number 5, know the issues. This is the Kluba dive on know your customers. It's not just know your customers like age and gender and socioeconomic status and educational status, it's, and where they live and census data on your, but what's the issue? It's one thing to know the customer. It's another thing to know what the customer faces. So I'm dealing a lot with real estate agents lately. So you can know a real estate agent. What type of clients do they serve? Where are they at in their career? Are they a buyer's agent? Are they a listing agent? Are they building a team? Do they have a team beneath them? Are they a broker and an agent? Do they, it's just knowing the agent, right? But what are issues? What are the issues that they face? Issues like, stories that buyers or investors sell, for example. That's just one of the issues they face. What's another issue? Competition in the marketplace. What's another issue? They face regulation. What's another issue? We could go on and on and on. So it's one thing to know the realtor. It's another thing to know the issue. One side of every issue is a problem. The other side of every issue is an opportunity, right? Like two sides of a coin, heads and tails. So the more you know the issue itself, the more you'll be able to market into people that want resolve for those issues. People that want to realize an opportunity or get away from a problem, you'll be able to speak more to that. Tip number 6, know your stuff. So your products, your service, your investments, your experiences. When people are going to invest in you or buy from you, when people are going to raise you, promote you, want to be on your team, choose you over your competition, whatever it happens to be, whether it's entrepreneurial or whether it's for a board position in a volunteer organization, or whether it's whatever it is. Okay. Your stuff. Are you ready to answer questions about what people are investing in? The product, the service, the investment, the experience. Do you have command of those details? Can you choose properly from that knowledge what you're going to infuse into your marketing message? What's going on here? This computer's local host name. That's not a nice message. Let's hope that doesn't get in my way. Can you guys still hear me, Patty and Charlie? Okay, good. All right. Tip number 7, know your brands, right? And there's a lot of confusion, I think, in marketing language about brand and branding, and I'm going to brand you and you're branded, and what's a great brand, and brands are all the different ways that the word brand is used. And what I'm trying to communicate in tip number 7 there is that there's more than brand is. Like there's different levels of brand, right? I could brand myself, I could brand my stuff, I could brand my team, I could brand the organization. Anything that has a promise to deliver is a brand. A brand is a promise to the marketplace. So what's your personal promise? What is your product or service promise? What is your team promise? What is your organization promise? So know your brands, individually or plurally. All right. Tip number 8 is know the drivers of human or buyer or human psychology. People in my industry, coaches, people that study achievement, performance, productivity, we know what people want, right? And it's very simple. Really, let me just put it to you this way. If I went down onto the Las Vegas Strip down there, walked up and down for about 3 minutes, that's all it would take me before I found a million people. Everybody's out now. Oh my God, it's so crazy to watch everybody with their masks off. Like, oh yeah, I'm vaccinated, no mask. That's okay. I'm going to keep mine on. Thank you. Anyway, it's just hard. I'm not used to opening back up yet. I'm still want to have my mask on. It's weird. It's weird walking through crowd, even if for just a second not having a mask on. I'm not ready for it yet. But anyway, my point is, if I went down and I asked 1 million people, what do they want? What do they want more than anything else? What are the 3 most important things that have to be different about their life, right? Something like that. And I'd get 3 million answers if I asked for the 3 things you want more than anything else, or the three things that hurt the most, or the 3 things that would feel the greatest, or the 3 things that need to be different, or the 3 things you just have to have. I'd get 3 million answers. But all 3 million of those answers would fit into 6 categories. So we can actually categorize and put a label on, generally speaking, what people want. When we know what people want, our marketing messages are going to be better when we speak into that wanting. It's really refreshing in a marketing process or a sales process when somebody communicates a really strong understanding of what you want. It's really refreshing. You feel understood. You feel heard. You feel a connection to the salesperson or the marketer that understands you. So that's really cool. As a matter of fact, we put, back to this real estate thing, we put an offer in. She's just on my mind right now, this realtor that we got a hold of. She listened to my explanation of my story. She understood, she knows where we're at, and she made me feel in the process that she really understands where my brother and at and what we're trying to accomplish, that we're not just another investor trying to get a property real quick and take advantage of the market. Like we're really, anyway, our story is real, right? Compared to all the stories that realtors hear. That's one, but it's not just that our story is real, but she has communicated in so many ways an acknowledgement of where we're coming from. She's like cheering for us to get the property. There's several offers on this property that we want, really attractive property. And, it's just like, that's what's on my mind right now. The offer's in, we're going to get a counter offer tomorrow, and we're going to play the negotiation game. But I'm, if somehow, somewhere in the future, Janessa, the realtor in Vegas, you watch a recording of this, I'm thinking about you right now and thinking good thoughts. Hopefully we can get a transaction done. But bottom line is, know the drivers, the buyers of human psychology. So refreshing to work with somebody that understands, that gets it. And that's good marketing. Whether I end up doing the transaction with her or not, the way that she's making me feel, she's marketing to me future business, right? She might get my listing in the future when I do something with my parents' house because of how she's marketing to me in the process of entertaining the offer on the current listing that she has. Anyway, I could go on and on about that. Clearly, I'm distracted by it. And cross your fingers for me, guys. Patty and Charlie, cross your fingers. All right. Tip number 9, know a good wordsmith. Well, after you figure out the customer, the client, the competition, the issues, the drivers of human psychology, the brand, right? Now you want a good wordsmith. Now you want to put it together in a way that is sticky, memorable, funny, cute, catchy, and so forth. So that's one of my favorite tips in the book, actually. Tip number 9. I own over over 300 domains on GoDaddy because of my addiction to wordsmithing different brand promises. Get that? I'm going to slow down. Wordsmithing various brand promises. A brand is a promise to the marketplace, but it's so different, Patty. Isn't it different if I say, I promise I'm going to listen carefully to your word choices so that I can understand your inner dialogue, figure out what the limiting belief is, replace it with an empowering alternative, and condition that to the point of transformation. It's different if I promise that than if I promise like, hey, Patty, we're going to do a checkup for the neck up and get you out of your own way, and then you're off and running. Totally, right? So once you understand the jargon of your brand promise, now you need to get it into slogan. Right? So know a good wordsmith. I know a good wordsmith if you need one. Anyway, I have fun with all of that. That got us to last week. Tip number 10, mind the gap. Charlie, I think about you all the time on these because you've been loving the mind the gap thing for several years now. I think since 2018, right? We're well 3 years into. When's the first time you heard of Mind the Gap? Was in flyby coaching videos. When I would fly around the world, every time I would take off, I'd shoot a little video on a topic. And the series Mind the Gap is where we pay attention to the difference between two words that often get used interchangeably when people aren't thinking about the real difference between them. So there's a lot of words that get used as if they mean the same thing when they really don't. And when we pay attention to the difference, mind the gap, pay attention to the difference, we might see something really valuable. So tip number 10, a mind the gap got into the book as tip number 10, and it's brand versus branding. The brand is the promise. Branding is the act of getting the promise out into the marketplace. So I won't elaborate any further than that, other than to show you this really fun picture of a bottle of lubrication, which is always fun to think about lubrication. All right, now that takes us to tip number 11, page 60, straight up. Tip number 11 in marketing, tip number 21 overall, second edition of Get a Klu in 52. And here we go for the word for word. I'm going to read word for word. It's very brief. And then we'll open it up to group interaction with the steady and consistent and reliable and dedicated and loyal and lovely Patty and Charlie for a little interaction. All right, here we go. Page 60, tip 11, know or create the channels. A channel is the path a message travels on the way to its destination. While some marketers are geniuses for conducting superior market research and others are geniuses for creating brilliant brands or messages, there is a marketing brilliance achieved by those that know how to get the message out there. It was Marshall McLuhan who first told us, quote, "The medium is the message," end quote. And this is a huge concept for marketers to grasp. My favorite exercises to exemplify this point is to imagine attending a major sporting event like a football game where there are over 50,000 people in one spot for 3 to 4 hours and brainstorm a list of channels that exist in that one location. I'll get you started. Ad on the ticket stub, ads in the parking lot, ads on the giveaway item that all fans in attendance receive. How else? How else do marketers send a message to fans attending a sporting event? There are so many channels to get a message to a destination, and marketers have gotten more and more genius about what counts as a delivery channel for marketing messages. Let me read this last paragraph. From the dividers that separate one person's groceries from another's. Oh, I'm going to start that again. From the dividers that separate one person's groceries from another's in the checkout line in the supermarket to the TVs that now hover over the gas filling stations to SMS text messages on our smartphones. Genius marketers will either choose or create the best path along which to send their messages. All right. It's not rocket science, right? It's not rocket science at all to realize and think about, well, channel. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around and get the live interaction going. Let me go ahead and get the audio set. Now that I'm going to unplug, let's make sure that we get the audio going. And hang on. Yes. Testing 1, 2. All right. Should be able to hear you guys. You should be able to hear me. Yeah. All right, so let's turn it around and open it up. Patty and Charlie, welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52. Thanks for coming on board as always, you guys. What do you have as far as questions or comments when it comes to channels, especially in the context of everything else we've reviewed?
I don't know. This whole chapter made me think of the Goodyear blimp.
Goodyear blimp. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's one of the earliest billboards that we experienced coming up. You know, I know that there's a difference in age between all three of us, in fact, but the Goodyear blimp is a timeless icon for advertising, right? And it's not just that Goodyear's rolling around, but Goodyear what? They have the eye in the sky, the cameras up there. So they give you a different view of the game. So what a brilliant and genius way. You're being advertised to the entire time, but it's incorporated into the production, the television production. And product placement advertising and TV shows and movies. Or sometimes it seems like the only reason the show or the movie exists is to advertise, if that makes sense. And sometimes we get offended by how much advertising is in our face, and the Goodyear blimp is just the opposite. It's classy, it's iconic, it's a wow. And it's genius, the way that it's utilized. Excellent, iconic example, Patty. Any comments, questions, Charlie, about this idea of channels? How or along what path can we get a message through?
Evening, Coach Jeff. Hi, Patty. This is quite a bit of a challenging one. With the message that you are sending, even though it is the same product, be sent out in different channels to different demographics. Example, if it's a lower LSM or a higher LSM, what would the message be? What are the issues, whichever category faces, would you then need to use a different channel to get that message across to them?
Well, you know, how should I say this? if I understand your question correctly, you're always good at layering context onto your questions. How should I say this? First of all, if it's different demographics, I want a different message, right? Or I want to find the thing about my product or service that appeals to all demographics and make sure my message highlights that. Now, having said that, usually different demographics by definition are going to require different channels. Okay. So demographic, psychographic. So think about, somebody that commutes to work. Now the channel becomes, AM radio advertising, right? Versus the person, if they're driving in their cars, versus the person that takes the subway. Now the channel is just like, like a poster, if you will, poster type ad right there on the up in the upper, where the wall goes to the ceiling of the train, right? So what I'm getting at is, if you add to this tip tonight, to know your customer thing, right, and know the issues, you'll start to get more creative about the channels that you want to
100%,
use.
100%.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it answers my question. It basically just clears it up that, yes, you need to know the customers through their demographic, psychographic, what are the issues they're facing, what message do you want to get to them, which channel are you going to get to them quicker, better, and also more successfully.
Yeah, that's right. It's a big profession, media buying. There are people out there that their job is to buy media, like buy channel space, buy locations, right? And I remember when I first started, I remember there was a time in my life where I would go to sporting events and I would just go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, I remember going to the bathroom and seeing advertisement right on the wall, right in front of me. Like I couldn't escape it, right? I'd have to look up or look down to not be advertised. Started getting like, hey, let's put ads right here, right above the stall. We know people are coming here and they're a captive audience for a minute, right? And can I just pee in peace without being advertised to? Well, no, you can't. It's all fair game for the creative marketers. Your imagination. It's you either know the right channels or create them, right? That's that's the opportunity. That's the opportunity. It's like I keep going back to real estate agents, right? And use of social media, right? Social media is marketing. I mean, do you think one of the agents yesterday, they said, hey, send over some credibility. They just said, send over some credibility. Let me make sure I know who you are. So I'm like, all right. My YouTube channel is Get A Klu. If you Google my name, Jeff Klubeck, you might come up with some things, right? Here's my website. Follow. I find it interesting, but the other way around too, right? The real estate, the business card. I can show you different real estate business cards, and you look at what the business card is one channel, but it's not the business card. It's a message, but it carries information, right? But then the real channel for the business card is networking event where you actually, or an opportunity to meet somebody in person. So it's the event, the meeting, the venue. So what I'm getting at is that if you don't think about it and break it down, you might be missing an opportunity, to spark your creativity, to spark your genius. If you're really not imagining, you don't want to gloss over. You don't want to assume, let me just create a message and I'll put it somewhere without thinking about it too much. No, my tip is I'm encouraging you to really be creative and thorough in considering what are all the places that this message can get out.
Got you.
Patty, anything else from you in terms of questions?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it about, you said the TV at the gas pumps, but when I go to pump gas at this, where I always go, there's a little TV on the pump, really. Yeah. And it's do you think those are effective at all? Have you heard any statistics or anybody talk about that?
I'm going to tell you that no. Well, first of all, let me answer your second part of that question. No, I haven't heard statistics of effectiveness. I don't know how. There's got to be a way to measure it, but I can tell you that what I notice is, I can tell you what, NBC comes to mind. The network NBC. I recall getting gas and realizing that whatever content that was being pumped through the advertising mechanism was NBC driven. So I remember, like, because I have a bachelor's degree in telecommunications management, so I pay attention to the conglomerations and what company, the battles that go on between content providers and hardware, right? Cable companies and then the providers, or phone companies and then the service, and so media broadcast companies and then the broadcast channels, right? So I'd say in my personal experience, it's effective in terms of, I remember them, I noticed them, I know that NBC is all over it, right? In one certain
that's interesting, because where I go, there's no identification with who's providing it. It'll just be somebody talking.
Yeah.
And I even almost get engaged with what they're saying, and the next thing I know, they're gone. It's like so fast that I can't even get really the message.
It would be interesting to look it up. It would be.
I think I will now, because I do have that question.
Well,
when I was in the library at Liberty Mutual, I always used to read Advertising Age, because they would, have all this information. So I'm sure there's a modern day Advertising Age.
Yeah. Advertising Age was a go-to publication for papers I would write in college on these topics. And, I just know that, look, I use it as an example because it's something we didn't used to see. We didn't used to see TV at the filling station. Now we do. So it's a channel that was created. So I use it as an example. Some channels have always existed as long as we've known them. Others are being created as we, so whether you're tapping into a known channel or whether you're pioneering, right? They may go away. You never know. It's only been a couple of years that I've seen these TV things at the filling station. So I don't know what the effectiveness is, but I noticed them, and I can recall at least one brand that I've seen come through it. I don't know what your experience is, how long it stays on. The other thing too is sometimes there's like different layers there. Maybe it's just like, let's say Shell. There's the gas company. Let's say it's Shell. I don't know what are the major gas stations companies out. There's Shell and Mobil and Arco, right? And then the Midwest.
British Petroleum.
Okay, BP.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say it's BP, right? And now you roll up, and it's very interesting, right? What if they're playing either CNN or Fox? Right, but they're thinking, hey, we're bringing you the news. We want you to, at least get a couple minutes worth of news while you're filling up. It's a service provided by BP. So now BP is marketing themselves as the place to fill up because you might get a little information while you're there. I mean, and then to me, I'm making this up off the top of my head. It's silly because information's at our fingertips everywhere, in the car, satellite radio, internet, phones, and so forth. But if you weren't watching that, what might you do while you were filling up? You might bring your phone with you and check your phone for a minute or two and put it back. Right. The hunt for eyeballs. Right. Now it's interesting to me because I might think the same way that you do. Right. Like, are they really effective? I mean, who's going to go to a filling station, see something on a TV screen, and then go, how do we follow that to a purchase? I don't know. But I do know that it's a channel that's been created that didn't exist before. Somebody thinks it's worth it. And if you find out what the effectiveness of it is and want to share in the future, I'll be thrilled if you do. But I really don't know the answer to that.
By the way, Advertising Age has joined the new century, and they are now called Ad Age.
Ad Age? Yeah. I don't think that's recent. I think they made that switch years ago.
Really?
But I may be wrong about that. We are in Get a Klu in 52 to reset. Hello, we're Get a Klu in 52 live from Las Vegas, where I've got one more day tomorrow to shop for a condo, try to get a condo under contract. Wish me luck. It's a crazy seller's market right now in Las Vegas. Tons of condos available, but wow. There's some interesting stuff out there. But Get a Klu in 52. We're talking tonight, tip number 11 for marketing, and tip number 21 overall. is to know the channels, know or create the channels. What are the paths that you will send your marketing messages, your brand promises? Are there's so many channels to think of. Skywriting, newspaper ads, social media, T-shirts, pens, coffee mugs, matchbook covers. You get the idea. Sponsorship opportunities. As a matter of fact, next week I've got an opportunity to sponsor like a hole at a golf tournament, right? So who's going to be golfing there? It's First Command Financial. They're a military bank. There's mostly going to be military veterans. Do I want my message? Do I have promises for military in particular? Let me, of all the promises I can make, which ones are going to speak to the listening of the issues military members face, right? So how about career counseling for people that want to re-enter civilian life, right? That is a major issue that military families face. How about marriage and family counseling, and the single parent deal, and there's all kinds of issues that they face. Do I have any solutions? Do I have anything that can help those issues? If so, I'd want to be ready with those messages. Of all the million messages that I could put out there into the marketplace, if I could go sponsor a First Command, I sponsor a hole at a First Command golf tournament, I want to be ready to solve problems for military members and their families. Like, I'm very clear about that. So that it's still a channel, right? The hole is the channel. The golf tournament is the channel, but what's the message I'm going to put into that channel? Just as an example. All right. Other questions, comments? Get a Clue in 52 is ready to wrap up. I'm getting text messages as we speak from Janessa, the realtor, who I'm crossing my fingers and thinking good thoughts about. And I really want to interact with her a little bit before it gets too late. So I'm going to go ahead and ask for last call for Get a Clue in 52. Last call. Questions, comments, jokes, stories, wins to share, expressions of gratitude for anything in your life. I'm ready for last call. All right, going once, twice, thrice.
I can't believe Charlie's not asking for a Clue snack.
Well, I was waiting for you to get done, Patty, if you had anything, and I was just going to say, Coach Jeff, don't forget my Clue snack.
I like these going shorter, but I wanted to share this quote.
Okay.
Attention is not going to pay you until you pay attention.
100%.
There it is.
I believe that was Coach Jeff.
This week's Clue snack brought to you by Patty Blakesley, the Inner Business Coach. Thank you very much. Did you get that, Charlie?
Yeah.
Patty, one more time.
Okay.
Charlie, we talked about you earlier in the week. We get ready for you now.
Attention is not going to pay you until you pay attention.
1, 2.
I just had this Post-it note. I forgot now until just now where it came from.
I'm glad you have it, because the notes, my journal that I normally keep is tucked away in my backpack right now. I couldn't have quick access, so everything works out beautifully. Did you get that Clue snack? If you want attention to pay you, I suggest paying it first.
Yeah, I got it down.
That's how it sounds as a Clue snack. In Clue snack form, you just have the raw notes from when it emerged. But you got it, Charlie? If you want
I got it.
If you want attention to pay you, I suggest paying it first. Pretty fun, huh? Putting the fun back in the fundamentals. That's another Clue snack for you, by the way, if you don't have that one already, Charlie.
Yeah.
I like to, I'm committed to putting the fun back in the fundamentals. Let's put the fun back in the fundamentals. Don't forget the fun in fundamentals.
Having fun is always good. Thank you for letting us have such great fun every Monday morning, Coach Jeff. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, Sunday night for us. Yeah, man, I love you guys so much.
Sunday night for you, by the way.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I love you guys and appreciate you guys for coming on so regularly. It means the world that there's value here, and for you guys. And it's always fun. It's a nice little bond that we share. And hopefully those that are out there watching in real time or interacting at a recording somehow, they appreciate what's going on, what we're doing on Sunday night. And I just, please accept my thank you. Thank you. Unless there's anything else, I'm ready to go ahead and seal it with a kiss. Patty, are you ready?
All right.
Oh, here we go.
Just one last one, Coach Jeff. Just to drop it here. We had it sometime discussed during Mind the Gap. passion, purpose. We leave that one for next week, and then we can maybe just have a comment on it.
Yeah,
week.
no, I'll give that to you easy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Purpose is a destination. Passion is the fuel.
Another clue, Bismack. Love it.
Yes, sir. Ask a good question. I'll try to give you a good answer. I love you guys so much.
Thank you, Coach Jeff.
Yes, sir. All right, Patty, you ready?
Ready?
Here we go. Get a clue in 52. Tip number 21 overall. Number 11 for marketing signing off. A big sloppy wet one. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week or throughout the week.
All right.
Great one.
fun,
Have a good
everybody.
week. Have fun. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
All right.